Hello and welcome to this week's blog. Today we're going to talk about creating a backup strategy for when your system, such as ActiveCampaign, has an outage. No matter what the software providers tell you, systems are always going to have outages. They happen, they're unexpected, and the best way that you can be prepared is to have a backup strategy for when the outages happen. More often than not, many entrepreneurs and small businesses end up having to have knee-jerk reactions when these outages happen. Or maybe they don't even know that the outage has happened at all because they were offline during that time period. Regardless, we want to make sure that you know when an outage happens, how to identify an outage, and then how to have a proactive strategy for your business in order to reduce any time, contacts, or revenue that has been lost during that time period. Let's go ahead and get started. The most important thing for working with different systems is to make sure that you know all of the systems that you're using and then how those systems connect together. For example, if you are working with ActiveCampaign as your primary CRM, email marketing, and automation tool, you want to know what other systems connect into ActiveCampaign. You may have an easy webinar funnel that has a deadline funnel. Maybe you have a checkout tool that's also pushing data into ActiveCampaign, even a calendar integration. All of these tools need to be identified and how they work with ActiveCampaign. That way, if ActiveCampaign has an outage or EasyWebinar has an outage, you know exactly where to look for information and to be able to identify any problems that the outages may have caused. The next thing that you need to do is subscribe to the system status updates for every single one of these systems that you've identified. Most cloud-based systems have either a website or a website and like an email follow-up of system status. And when there's a problem with the system, if you're on their email list, they'll email you and let you know. These system status updates usually also include maintenance time periods, which is also super important to keep track of. If your webinar tool or your checkout tool is going to have a maintenance and there's going to be an issue during a certain time period of potentially pushing contacts or purchase information over to ActiveCampaign, you're going to want to make sure that you follow up after that maintenance period and get your systems all corrected. The next thing that you want to do is have an internal communication strategy. So there should be a point of contact in your company that is keeping track of any system status updates, system outages, things like that. When one of these occurs, they need to be able to pass the information to the other people within your company. So this may include letting customer support know that there was a system outage so that if your members of a program can't log in to a certain interface, that they can address it appropriately with those customers. So having a communication plan so that everyone knows what is happening and everyone's not freaking out that something's not working and you don't know what is key to keeping control in a system outage. Finally, the last thing that you want to do is have a system outage and system maintenance task list. So what I mean is once you know all of your systems and how they interact together, and then you have clear communication of when system outages happen and maintenance modes and things like that and how to distribute it within your team, you want to make sure the members of your team that are responsible for follow-up tasks on system outages know exactly what those tasks are. So for example, if your email marketing tool such as ActiveCampaign were to go down, you would need to have somebody on your team verify with EasyWebinar that no contacts were lost and that during the time period they continued to move into ActiveCampaign and were tagged properly. You need to have someone on your team verify this, and if they didn't move into Active Campaign, then that person will be responsible for manually moving the contacts over once the outage is resolved. The same thing goes for any other tools, your checkout tools, your membership tools, any of those things. You need to have someone on your team who is ready to monitor and correct any course of action that has been impacted by the outage. So you are now prepared for the next system outage. Don't pretend like it's never going to happen or ignore them when they do happen. Using these 5 tips, you can now create a plan for your business to manage system outages. Good luck.